the Houston Texans are going to shock the entire National Football League. Hi, welcome into Texans Today. I'm your host, Jeremy Chuggs, and I'm going to give you 3 reasons why the Texans might shock the entire NFL this Sunday. First game up against the Indianapolis Colts. And I have a little grudge with my bosses right now. They were talking some mess to me. They said, your sub numbers have been down a little bit. I bet you can't even get 50 subs on this next video. I said, oh, you bet? Well, here you go. I'm going to lay down the gauntlet. Texans fans, help me out right here and right now. Go down and hit that sub button and help me prove my bosses wrong. Let them know that Texans fans, they show up, they represent, and they show out. If you haven't already, go down and hit that subscribe button. Texans videos, 100% free all year long. There's nothing to lose, and I can stick it to my bosses. Who doesn't like to stick it to the boss, man? Help me, help you. Go down and hit that sub button, because the more subs we get, the more videos I can make here on the channel. So 3 reasons why the Texans are going to shock the world. Everybody's talking about this offense. Everybody's talking about the Texans offense. I think the Texans defense will be much better than it was last season. And it's actually going to shock people how good this defense plays in 2024. I truly do think DeMeco Ryans, one of the brightest young minds in the NFL, one of the brightest defensive minds in the entire National Football League. I really do think what he's got going down in Houston, what he's able to do with this Texans defense is really going to reflect this Sunday whenever they take on an elusive offense with Anthony Richardson. They have some good weapons, a good offensive line up there in Indianapolis, but I really think the Texans are going to be able to get after it this season. Now, last year, in the first season under DeMeco Ryans, these are the rankings for the Texans in terms of yards allowed. So they were 14th in overall yards allowed per game. They were 23rd in pass yards allowed per game, which I think that's going to change this season with a couple of minor tweaks to the roster. And rush yards are actually, I was talking about them, week 18 up against the Colts earlier in the week, how they got shredded in the run game. They actually finished the year 6th in run defense in terms of yards per game. So not too bad there, but talk about the passing game. I think it's going to reflect in a couple different ways. One, I think Jalen Petrie, they're going to finally use him correctly. He's not a free safety. He's not a type of guy, a defensive back who's going to be on the back end being able to, kind of play center field for this Texans defense. He plays up close to the line of scrimmage. He wants to play press man. He wants to play, man-to-man in the slot up against maybe a tight end, maybe up against a slot receiver for the opposing teams. He's not going to be a guy who's going to be on the back end reading the quarterback. I think he's much better suited playing inside the box for this team, much like he did his rookie season in 2022. You see the numbers, they obviously reflect he had a much better rookie season than a sophomore year. 147 tackles to 84, 5 tackles for loss to 6, 8 pass breakups to 5, 5 interceptions to 0, and a quarterback rating when targeted 88.2 to last year he was 135.0. So I think Petrie's going to be much better this season. Also, the Texans, they went out and added some guys this offseason. One who we kind of goes under the radar a little bit, but Danielle Hunter was top 5 in sacks last year, and he's added to this Texans defense. You add Azeez Al-Shaair, who has prior experience playing with DeMeco Ryans at the middle linebacker spot, was actually named a captain earlier this week. Kamari Lassiter, Calen Bullock, both defensive backs in the secondary, which I think they're going to make a big splash their rookie seasons. And Danico Autry, I was going to talk about him, but obviously suspended to start the year. Foley Fatukasi, though, going to really help in the run game for this defense. I think he's going to be a sneaky signing that the Texans made this past off season. Overall, I think this Texans defense can be top 10 when all is said and done. When DeMeco Ryans has his way with opposing offenses and what he's able to do with this Texans defense, I really do think that they can be a top 10 defense by the end of this season with all the pieces they have. We haven't even talked about Derek Stingley, who I think he can truly be one of the best shutdown corners in the entire league. We haven't even talked about Will Anderson Jr., who's coming off a defensive rookie of the year season, 7.5 sacks. I think he can get to double digit this year. We haven't even talked about Christian Harris, who, yes, he'll be injured to start the season, but he is an emerging young linebacker who can play really well with a former linebacker as his head coach. So I think this Texans defense is just scratching the surface with how good they can actually be. I've talked a lot on the show already. I want to hear from you now. Go in the comment section. The Texans will have a top blank defense this season. Fill in the blank for me. The Texans will have a top blank defense this season. Top 3, top 5, top 10. Let me know what your thoughts are down below in the comments section. Second way the Texans are going to shock the world. They're absolutely going to shock everybody in the NFL. I think they're actually going to run the ball a little bit more than people will think. And that actually fits perfectly with today's sponsor, Prize Picks. It's daily fantasy sports made easy. If you take my word for it, maybe you look at the stat projections for Joe Mixon and say, hey, I think they're shortchanging him just a little bit. But get started with our friends over at Prize Picks today. I have a great lineup set for you this weekend because Prize Picks, they have an amazing deal laid out for you. For the month of September, one of the projections that you can play is Caleb Williams, 0.5 yards. 0.5. So he just has to complete a pass, and we're good. Yeah, I'm going to play that. Easy money all day long. The other ones that I played in my stat projection, CJ Stroud, I took the 224.5 pass yards. The more on that. Stefon Diggs, 59.5 receiving yards. His opening debut, I think he's going to go off for the Texans in week 1. Give me the more on that, and I'll get into more about Joe Mixon in just a moment, but 53.5 rush yards, I think it's easily the more on that. You can use my picks, or you can fade my picks. Just do it over at Prize Picks. Unlike other apps, on Prize Picks, it's just you against the numbers. All you do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 players' stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. Get in on the daily action with your friends and become part of the Prize Picks community. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code CLNS and get $50 instantly when you play $5. Yes, $50 instantly when you play $5. That's code CLNS on Prize Picks to get that $50 instantly when you play 5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Go check it out today. Make your picks in less than 60 seconds and turn your sports opinions into real money all season long on Prize Picks. It's Prize Picks. Run your game. Now, Aaron Wilson was talking about, Joe Mixon at practice earlier this week, and he said, he's fully healthy after the preseason quad injury, expected to have a heavy workload on offense. Joe will be Joe, is what DeMeco Ryans said. And Joe has had a hell of a run with the Cincinnati Bengals to start his career, where he was a workhorse for them. He also went on to say, I don't think you'll see anything different. He's a strong physical back. He's going to get yards. So I'm excited about seeing Joe run the ball behind our offensive line. So I'm really pumped to see Joe Mixon, a true bell cow back, in my opinion, for the Houston Texans this season. Because it's no secret. Last year, the Texans, they did not run the ball effectively whatsoever with Dameon Pierce and Devin Singletary. They just weren't able to get it going in this Bobby Slowick offense, which is really surprising because you look at where he stems off of. The Kyle Shanahan, the Sean McVay. They like to set up their passing game by running the ball, and they like to run the ball a lot. You see those offenses, they don't have any problem running the ball. The Texans, they had a problem last year. That's why they went and traded for Joe Mixon this offseason, and as Aaron Wilson reported, he's expected to get a ton of carries for the Houston Texans this year. And I think this Texans, offense, as much a hype as CJ Stroud, the wide receivers get, I think they're going to be a little bit more balanced than people think that they will. Obviously, you have an amazing quarterback in CJ Stroud, one of the best in the entire league. So obviously, people are going to expect this offense to light it up and toss the ball around all over the field. I really do think Joe Mixon will get a little bit more carries than people might think, and this offense is going to be more balanced, more, run leading into the pass, a little bit of play action in that as well. So, as I mentioned earlier, on Prize Picks, I'm taking the more on Joe Mixon. What say you, though? Are you with me, or do you think I'm just spreading BS right now with Joe Mixon? Let me know down in the comments section. Play Prize Picks with me. More or less than 53.5 rush yards for Joe Mixon in week 1. Type M for more, type L for less. Interested to see what you have to say down in the comments section. Lastly, Texans going to shock the world because everybody's saying, I have some Cowboys fans that I'm friends with, and they're like, every year we say it's our year, and it's never our year, Jeremy. So everybody's saying it's the Texans' year. Don't buy into the hype. It's all hype. It's all hype with this team. Opposing fans are begging, they're pleading, they're praying for the downfall of our man, our QB1, our franchise, our tone setter, our number one guy in the entire National Football League, CJ C.J. Stroud. Yeah, they're hoping that he has a sophomore slump. Please, C.J. Stroud, don't go off this year for the Houston Texans. Not going to happen. C.J. Stroud going to take it to the next level. Then they're like, oh, y'all traded for Stefon Diggs. He's a locker room cancer. He's washed. He's an old wide receiver. He's going to suck this year, Jeremy. Well, he's a team captain. Talk about locker room cancer, my ass. Stefon Diggs is ready to prove everybody out there wrong, even you, if you don't believe in Stefon Diggs. Because this team, they are focused. They are ready with one goal and one goal only to hoist that Lombardi trophy at the end of the season. And I absolutely love the tenacity that this team brings. I get there's a ton of hype around this Texans team right now, but I think it's well deserved. I think the way they ended last season and how they set themselves up for this year, this team is ready to deliver, and this team is ready to go balls to the wall. They're ready to prove that they're one of the teams to beat in the AFC, and they're ready to go toe-to-toe with anybody that you put ahead of them. The Baltimore Ravens, the Kansas City Chiefs, they are ready to play some ball. So let's get the pigskin on the grass, and let's get helmet to helmet, and let's get the pads popping, because it's week one. All the talk is over. It's time to walk the walk, and I think the Texans are ready to do just that. If you want to continue the conversation, if you want to talk more ball with me, go ahead and do so on social media. You can follow me on Twitter at Jeremy Chuggs, New Texans Today IG, Texans Today CS, or you can follow me on TikTok where I'm doing all my little TikTok dances at Jeremy Chuggs over there. Getting a little following. That's 77 followers right now. Get maybe up to 100 by game day, but go hit me up on social media. And remember, the Texans this year are going to shock the world.